the host of the whole seminar, and I said, you need to have this guy speak in front of your event. Then I said to Greg, I go, Greg, could you speak in an hour on LinkedIn? He's like, yeah. And the rest was history. So I've gotten to know Greg very well since then, and without a doubt, in my mind, he is by far the leading authority of how to make money with LinkedIn. So that's my introduction. We will be doing our best to record this and sending out the recording to you as quickly as possible. So we're going to give it about a 10-second pause, and then Greg, just jump on in about after the 10-second pause for the recording, and we'll get going.
Well, thanks a lot for that introduction, and thanks for having me here, and thanks to all of you for joining us here today. You're going to be glad you are here today for the Local Lead Ninja training. I want to welcome you to the Local Lead Ninja training. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Greg Wells, Greg with an I. This is my contact information so that we can connect on LinkedIn, and I'll put that back up again at the end of today's training. The main reason I show you this screenshot is so that you can see I've been a member of LinkedIn since 2005. I've really grown up on LinkedIn in the early days as a headhunter, and then I got into training recruiters and job seekers on using LinkedIn, and I've had my biggest and most recent success helping local businesses use LinkedIn. And that's what we're here today to learn how to do. So I want you to imagine when thinking about LinkedIn, if you didn't know what LinkedIn was, I want you to imagine if somebody told you there was this platform of business owners existing, this community that has now over 140 million members, where the average income is $107,000 a year, and they're all just waiting for you to find them. If somebody told you that existed, you would probably say that's a dream come true. And that's exactly what LinkedIn is. And the beauty of LinkedIn is there's almost no one using it to generate leads that turn into 4- and 5-figure paydays the way I'm going to show you here today. And the beauty of everything I'm going to show you is it's all completely free. You do not need a paid account on LinkedIn to do any of this stuff. You do not need to pay for anything on LinkedIn. Everything that we're going to learn how to do today are things that we can do with the basic free account on LinkedIn. They're things that you can go out and do today, starting today, to start getting real results right away, even if you know nothing or very little about LinkedIn. Even if you're not a member of LinkedIn, you can go set up an account today and start doing these things. Now, just to set kind of a leveling and starting point here, I want to just address what LinkedIn is. Because I'm sure we have some people here that are newer to LinkedIn. And a lot of people tend to think of LinkedIn as the Facebook for business professionals. And that's really not very accurate, because there's not a lot of social networking that takes place on LinkedIn. Instead, what you really want to think about LinkedIn is it's closer to a search engine than it is to a Facebook. It's really a search engine for finding talent. That's what LinkedIn was set up for. And that talent may be for hiring purposes, and it may be for finding solutions for your business, or it may be for finding partners or potential sales prospects for your business. But LinkedIn is a search engine for people. Talent means people. And I don't want you to just take my word for it. I want you to take a look at some case studies from people that have had great success using LinkedIn to find talent. And so what if you were the talent? That's the part that most of us haven't thought about, because you are the talent. You are the person that people are going to LinkedIn to look for. LinkedIn is more like a business directory than it is a social network. Only the power of LinkedIn as a directory is that it leverages who you know. And one of the most popular talents that people are going to LinkedIn to search for is B2B services. Now, B2B services stands for services sold from one business to another business. And that's what I believe a lot of you are in. You'll want to be providing services to other businesses. Businesses are the ones who have the most money to pay for your services, and that's who's on LinkedIn. So why is LinkedIn so popular for B2B services? It's because LinkedIn is a place for you to see someone's credentials, where you can really find out about what their background is before you select them. And if you're a service provider, essentially you all look the same on paper or on your website, right? I mean, every web development company, every SEO company, every printing company has a website. They all basically look the same. How do you choose one over the other? Well, looking up someone's credentials on LinkedIn is one of the main ways that people are doing that right now. LinkedIn is also very popular for B2B services because it's easily geo-targeted. It's a search engine that makes it easy to find people in your local area. And even though my local business could hire an SEO company or a web development company or a social media company anywhere in the world, I'd certainly rather hire one from my local market who knows my local market and is more likely to work with me. Now, that doesn't mean you have to target people right in your own city, because you can geo-target to any city you want. So this opens up the doors for you if you live somewhere in a more remote area and say, how can I succeed in local marketing? There's barely any local businesses here. You can become a local marketing expert in another market using the strategies you're going to learn here today on LinkedIn. Just as an example, in my local market in Tampa, SEO is averaging over 155 searches a month. So those are people searching for people to help them with their SEO and searching for you. So some of the most popular searches on LinkedIn are SEO, search engine optimization, mobile, LinkedIn itself. People are searching LinkedIn looking for people to help with their LinkedIn, web design, lead generation, YouTube, Google Places, reputation management, list management, pay-per-click, Facebook pages, and Twitter management. These are all some of the most common searches on LinkedIn. This is where people are going to search for people or businesses or consultants to help them provide them with these services. It's not uncommon for people that are providing these services to be getting 3 to 5 serious business deals a month. And many businesses are getting the bulk of their business, as much as 3/4, from LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is perfect for you, and you're in the perfect place today if you do any of those services yourself that I've just listed, or if you're able to turn around and outsource those services, and you can become just the salesperson or the middle person putting together the deal. And even if you don't do any of those services, I'm going to show you how to do the whole thing start to finish on LinkedIn here today. So just a quick note on myself, for those of you that aren't familiar with me, I use LinkedIn to generate over 2,000 leads a week for my business. And from that, extract about 45 new clients a week and over $20,000 a week in revenue. This is just a screenshot from an earlier segment this year, about a 10-week period, just to give you an idea of the type of gross revenue I'm generating, primarily all through LinkedIn. Now, I use a strategy called the faucet on LinkedIn. It's a strategy based on utilizing LinkedIn groups, where you set up your own LinkedIn group. And this is a strategy that works for any type of business at all to generate pre-qualified leads. What I want to talk to you today about is strategies that are specific for local marketers. I'm going to show you today exactly what I do and say to get clients to pay me for B2B services on LinkedIn, and how to position yourself to earn as much as $300 per hour utilizing those services. And all without ever having to meet any clients face-to-face, all without any marketing costs, all done right through LinkedIn. So we're going to cover how to get the clients and how to get the leads, all right through LinkedIn. And we're going to do that not using the faucet system, but using these two strategies that work best specifically for local marketers. The first is what I call Ninja networking. And I'm going to walk you through this flow chart and show you how to do real networking on LinkedIn that leads to clients and leads to leads all at once. Then I'm going to show you how to do LinkedIn SEO, how to SEO a profile on LinkedIn so that all those people that are searching can find you, and you can collect those leads, get those inbound leads and customers and clients coming to you, but also show you how you can help your clients SEO their LinkedIn profiles. So before we start to talk about networking on LinkedIn, I want to tell you a short story about my daughter that I think will help you to understand what you may have been doing wrong on LinkedIn up until now. So my daughter just finished the 5th grade this year. And up until this year, she has been a wonderful student, never been in trouble at all. But this year, in the very first week of school, my daughter came home with a note from her teacher that said she was being written up for talking too much in class to the person behind her. Now, I should also mention that last summer, my daughter decided to stay home for the summer, and again this summer, the same as well. And I worked from home, and she wanted to spend more time with Dad, which I love. And when I do these webinar trainings, she kind of sits in the room with me and listens into what I'm talking about. I really didn't think she was paying attention, but she must have absorbed some of this very training through osmosis. Because when I asked her, I said, honey, what has helped with you getting in trouble in the first week of school for talking too much in class to the person behind you? You know what she said to me? She said, Daddy, I was networking. Now, I just about fell out of my chair when a fifth grader said that to me. And if you think that's funny too, go ahead and put LOL into the chat box because that's just hilarious to us as adults who know what networking is. We can obviously see that talking to the person behind you is not networking, right? I'm glad to see lots of LOLs coming in from all of you guys as well. You know, and I talked about this with my daughter, and it was later that night in the shower that's where a lot of my best ideas come to me, that I realized, you know what? This is a really good metaphor for what I teach local marketers, because a lot of you local marketers are doing the same thing my daughter's doing. You are just talking to the person behind you, right? You go to meetups, you go to networking events, you go to your, your business centers, and you just talk to whoever you happen to meet there. And there's no rhyme or reason to it. Whoever's behind you, you talk to. And you tell yourself you're networking. You tell other people you're out there networking, trying to build your business. And the same concept applies on LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter. You're talking to people and you're saying you're networking, but it's not really networking unless you're networking with the right people and doing it in a strategic, systematic way that's going to lead to the end result that you want. And that's what I'm going to show you today with the Ninja Matchmaker system. This is a strategic, systematic way for you to network and get clients, but in the same sweeping motion, get leads from those clients and have it perpetuate itself. So that now, once you're following a system like this, you're no longer networking at a fifth grade level the way you have been. So let's dive into this Ninja Matchmaking system. This is the results you're going to get when you follow the system I'm going to teach you here today. You're going to generate inbound inquiries about your services. No matter what type of services they might be, you can adapt this for it, but it works best if you're offering any type of local marketing services. Then you're going to create leads for your clients, and they'll pay you and want to buy those leads from you. And all of the work for this can be done directly from LinkedIn without you needing to talk to anyone. So, getting started, this is the first step in this process. What you're going to do to get started is a LinkedIn search for local businesses. That's, of course, your target audience. And again, it can be any local market. If you don't want to do this in your own local market, just pick a local market that you're going to target. It'll be easy to pull up lots of businesses in that local market. And we're going to contact 100 of these local businesses with this message on LinkedIn. This is the opening message and the first step in this process here. And you're going to notice this is a little bit different than you typically, what most people do is go on to LinkedIn and try to solicit business. And that's seen as spamming. It really turns people off, and it's not building a relationship at all in any way. A relationship is built on an exchange of value. And that's what we're going to start to do here by opening in this way instead on LinkedIn. So here's what we're saying here. Let me break down this message for you. It says, I'm a local marketing consultant. Of course, you would just plug in whatever you do. But that's not why I'm contacting you today. Actually, I'm looking for the top CPA in, let's say, Tampa. That's where I live, or you would plug in your city. And, of course, CPA stands for Certified Public Accountant. So you're asking them to make a referral to you. You're creating a give-and-take situation here. That's what networking is all about on LinkedIn. And so it closes with, can you recommend a great CPA to me? And so when you send this message out, you're interacting with these prospects, these local businesses. And you're going to be beginning to build a relationship. Wait till you see how this unfolds. You are going to love this, I promise. I am seeing some questions coming into the chat box. If you could please just hold your questions until we get into the Q&A at the end of today's training. That way we can get through all of the training here and you can see this all come together. Okay, so why this works, as I was just talking about, most people just pitch and spam on LinkedIn. That doesn't work. LinkedIn is based on the concept of introductions and referrals, and you're going to love how this unfolds here. So when you do this, when you send this opening message to 100 people, there's 3 types of responses you might get. This is a typical response you might get from someone. Yes, I happen to use John Noe Accountant over at ABC Accounting. He's great. By the way, checked out your LinkedIn group and joined. Sounds great. I'd love to know more about what you do. Notice we did subtly plug what we do back in that first message. And so that's why you're going to get some responses like this. You'll typically get maybe 2 or 3 people that will respond like this, telling you about their great accountant that they have that they would recommend. But more often than not, you're going to get a message like this. When you send out about 100 of these, you'll typically get about 30 to 40 responses like this. And this is the one we actually want. This is the best response. And you might be saying, why is this the best one? I don't get it, Greg. You'll see this in a minute. Here it says, no, I don't have a CPA that I can recommend, or I don't even have a CPA in my business. You'd be surprised how many people are not utilizing a CPA at all. I'd be interested to know more about what you do. It's still something they might ask. We're going to come back to those no's in a minute. Some people may just flat out tell you, no, I don't have a CPA, and some people may not respond to you at all. So in a case study of a local marketer, Jonathan Green, when we did this, these were the results that he's got. And this is typical of what you'll probably find as well when you follow this same system. You'll see how this unfolds here in just a minute. In this case, Jonathan had 4 respond, yes, I know a great CPA. They gave him a name and number to referral. 29 said, no, I don't have one. 67 had not even responded in the first week. This is doing great, by the way. That's what you want. So here's phase 2. Phase 2 is the next set of messages that you're going to send to the CPA, and this is the same sequence of messages that you can utilize. So the next message says, well, every business owner should certainly have a great CPA to help them with their taxes and other matters. I'm setting out to research who the top CPAs are here in the Tampa Bay Area, and when I find out, I'll report back to you if you'd like me to let you know. So what we're doing here is we're creating a way to create some real value. We're positioning ourselves as someone who's in the center of influence here in the local market. And when you turn around and refer a CPA to that local business, you're really helping them. Because it's true, every business could use a great CPA to help them save more on their taxes. We all need to save more on our taxes. So we're manufacturing a way to create value for that local business here. But that's just the beginning of how this starts to unfold. And but that is an important step. That's a step that most people don't take. Is by having this interaction, by exchanging value and introducing the CPA, you're creating real value. Now what we're going to do, we're going to turn around and go to those accountants. Remember we got in the case study 4 introductions to accountants who are the top accountants in the area. That's what a CPA is, a certified public accountant. So we're going to turn around and go to those accountants and say to them, I'm a local marketing consultant. But that's not why I'm contacting you today. I'm writing because I serve the local business community here in Tampa, of course, in your cities, and I happen to know of, remember the 29 no's we got? So we're going to be able to say to the CPA, I happen to know of 29 local business owners who aren't working with a CPA or aren't satisfied with their current one. Of the businesses I polled who were satisfied with their CPA, you came up highly likely, and I'd like to introduce you to these 29 business owners who could use a CPA. You get this? You're starting to see this unfold? Go ahead and put yes into the chat box if you're following me here. I see Lee is saying this is genius. And it is, because what we're doing here is we're creating the whole flow of this. We're creating the leads. We're creating the leads for the accountants. We're creating the valuable interchange with the businesses, and we're doing it all in one sweeping motion. This could literally be your entire business plan in a box. We're glad to see such great feedback coming into the chat box here. So let's take a look at the results from the case study here. So Jonathan, who went out and did this, he got an in-person meeting with one of the CPAs who bought those 29 leads for him for $300. So right off the spot, he made $300 for having done this. And it probably took him a couple hours to go through this whole sequence one time. And that CPA turned around and became a client of his. He does social media and local marketing. Of course, he outsources the whole thing. Doesn't actually do any of the work himself. Then he went ahead and repeated the process for the CPA. So the beauty of this whole system on LinkedIn is you can do this over and over again to keep generating leads for the CPA and to keep generating more prospects for you. Now, the reason you could do this for any business, you could plug in CPA with any business you want. The reason we chose CPA is they're a center of influence. And if you look at the other results he got here, the CPA has recommended Jonathan to 53 other local businesses now, and he has all the leads he could ever want just by having done this one time. So the reason we're going to the CPAs is they are in with all the other local business owners in the area. They're going to be able to refer you. And when someone's accountant refers them, I mean, accountants don't mess around and refer people unless they're really good. That's why we went after CPAs in this case. Of course, you could plug in any industry or business type that you wanted to target instead of CPAs here. Now, along the way here, out of that 100 businesses that he wound up making the referral of the CPA to, they were very grateful that he introduced them to great CPAs. 21 of those businesses turned around and inquired about his services. But he didn't have to make any sales calls. All he did was turn around and follow up with the people that were interested in. From that 21, he wound up picking up another 2 SEO clients and 1 social media client that are now bringing in $2,500 a month in gross recurring revenue. He's also done 5 clients' LinkedIn profiles. When these clients saw how he was using this system, and when they saw his LinkedIn profile, they hired him to do their LinkedIn profiles for a total of $1,800. So that is how a systematic way of networking would be so much more successful for you, and it's the way you should be networking on LinkedIn. $4,600 in revenue in 30 days plus $2,500 in monthly recurring revenue when you're following this type of system. And that's just from doing it once. If you repeated this process again, you could generate that type of revenue again each time. Well, this is not the end of our training here today, but I would hope that if this was the end of our training, you would feel like this has already been the best training specifically for local marketers on LinkedIn you've ever been to. And what I'd like to ask you to do, just to get me fired up for our second segment here, is to share with us one word in the chat box that describes your feelings about the first half of our training here today. And I'll just share some of those with you so you guys get fired up as well. I'm seeing eye-opening, brilliant, awesome, unique, hungry, marvelous, awesome, interesting, impressive, sweet, revolutionary, astounding. Lots of great feedback pouring in here, and I hope you're seeing how your peers are excited about this and that you're getting excited about this. This is something that any of you can go out and do right from day one, right on LinkedIn. The next thing I promised you I would talk about here today is profile SEO. Profile SEO is similar to Google SEO. And as you learn about this, I want you to notice something that starts to happen. I want you to notice the hope and excitement you're starting to have in increasing your business. And that's because you're closer than ever now to finally having a system for generating real leads for your local marketing business. And as we start to think about local SEO, I want you to consider what you're not thinking right now. How important it is to be found on LinkedIn. Realize there were 4.2 billion searches in 2011 on LinkedIn. That's billion with a B. And those people are all searching for you. You're the talent that they're looking for. People that are searching for solutions are inbound pre-qualified leads. These are people that are not tire kickers. They're not researching. They're searching for people that can do these things for them. You want to show up in those searches. Now, pay attention now to what I'm about to show you. To be found and get inbound leads on LinkedIn, there are 3 things you must have in place. And we're going to go through each of these 3 things in today's training. The first of which is an optimized profile. Then you need the optimization is going to get you to show up in the search results in the first place. The second thing you need are conversion strategies, things that are going to make the people choose you and call you and hire you. And the third key that ties it all together is you need a deep, rich network on LinkedIn. Let's go through each of these 3 keys to success on being found on LinkedIn. So when we're talking about being found on LinkedIn, we're talking about showing up at the top of the search results for whatever your target keywords would be. So if you offer local SEO services, that's where you want to be, at the top of LinkedIn when someone searches for local SEO. Similar to being at the top on Google. You would want to be on LinkedIn because when you're on LinkedIn, they're searching for service providers specifically. That's what makes these a much more qualified lead. So how can you tell if you have an optimized profile or not? Well, on LinkedIn, they show you how well you're currently doing at being found. And your profile may look something like this. It says one profile view I've had in the last 30 days. I've showed up in 6 searches in the last 90 days. You find this on your LinkedIn homepage. You want to go to your LinkedIn homepage and you want to look at how well you're currently doing at being found. This way it gives you a benchmark so that you can see how well you're currently doing. And when you start to implement some of the strategies I'm going to show you today, you'll be able to see that your searches and views are going up on LinkedIn. You'll want to be able to monitor and show that your numbers are going up. So again, you go to your LinkedIn homepage to find this, and this is what's not uncommon. This is a typical good day for me. 152 searches in one day I showed up in, and 56 times my profile was viewed. Now, you may not get to 56 views a day, but if you did just a little bit of this and got yourself up from the 1 or 2 views a day you're getting right now, and instead got 10 or more views per day on LinkedIn, that's going to increase your inbound lead flow by a factor of 5. Remember, you don't show up in a search unless you match the keywords they're looking for. So you don't show up in the search unless you're matching the word. So it's a very pre-qualified buyer that's searching for you. So there are 2 main steps to getting to the top of the search results on LinkedIn. And I'm going to train you on how I go about doing this for our clients when we do this as a service. So the first step is you've got to develop a keyword strategy specifically to LinkedIn. It's a little bit different than a keyword strategy on Google. Once you've come up with your keywords for LinkedIn, you need to then take those keywords and put them into certain places in your profile. There's certain places that give more weight to the LinkedIn search algorithm. So let me show you an easy way to come up with your keywords for LinkedIn. I use what's called a word cloud tool to analyze other LinkedIn profiles. You see, LinkedIn search is competitive. It's person A versus person B to decide who's going to rank the highest. And so what you want to do to rank high on the LinkedIn search results is you want to analyze the profiles of the people who are on page 1 already and come up with what words are they using in their profiles. You want to use all those same words. And that's how you're going to beat them and rank to the top of the search results. LinkedIn's algorithm uses the actual words. It also uses supporting words to come up with deciding who's going to come up the top of the search results. But if you take an aggregate and combine all of the words that are being used in the top 10, the people that are on the top 10 on page 1, you're pretty well assured at beating them. So I do this using word clouds. The word cloud tool that I recommend, you're going to love this. It's for a free tool at wordle.net. It's a little bit of a hidden website because it's not a .com, it's a .net website. So what you're going to do is go to this website, you're going to click on the Create button, and what you're going to do is copy and paste each profile that's on page 1 already for the words you want, and this tool is going to create the word cloud, which shows you what are the words that person is using the most in their profile. Then you need to take those words and put those words into your profile. That tool will make your keyword research so easy because you're not now having to guess at what words I should be ranking for. You're looking at what the top people already are ranking for, and you're analyzing it and using their own profile to beat them. If you love this tool, go ahead and put yes into the chat box. It's the easiest, fastest way to do keyword research. And I'm glad to see lots of yeses pouring in here today. I like to find the easiest and fastest and best ways to do things. And that word cloud tool will definitely help you do that. Now, once you have your keywords, what you want to do is put your keywords into certain places in your LinkedIn profile that will give it more weight and give you a higher weighted score so you show up higher in the search results. These are the top 5 places that you need to put your keywords. And the number 1 place by far is your current job title. Your current job title carries the most weight and is the most important place for you to put your keywords that you're going to try to rank for on LinkedIn. Now, once you've done that, you're going to be getting showing up in lots of searches on LinkedIn. But you still need to get those people that are searching and viewing your profile. You need to get them to call you and to choose you. And I call that conversion strategies. So this funnel should help you picture what we're talking about here. Because exposure plus conversion really is the formula for success on LinkedIn, just like it's the formula for success on the internet itself. You need to do the optimizations I just showed you to fill your funnel with lots of exposure. Then you need to have conversion strategies that are going to get people to choose you. So here are some of the top conversion strategies you can use to get people to call you and to choose you. The first thing you need to have in your LinkedIn profile is a call to action. And this will make all the difference in the end results and the calls that you get from LinkedIn. And I don't want you to just take my word for it. I'd like to hear from some of the marketing people that are here, or I bet we even have some copywriters here. If you could put into the chat box one word that describes how important is the call to action to your online presence, to your website, or to your advertisement. I'll share some of these results with you guys. So the first person says it's critical. Next is essential. Next person says it's everything. It's ultimate, it's vital. Why bother if you don't have one? It's critical, it's mandatory, it's paramount, it's imperative, it's mandatory. So you're hearing from every marketing person who's here today with you, not just from me. You're hearing from them that the call to action is the most important part to your online presence. Well, guess what? Your LinkedIn profile is your online presence for you. And I bet you don't have a call to action in your LinkedIn profile. I bet even the marketing people that are here don't have a call to action in their LinkedIn profile. So that is definitely something you want to have in your LinkedIn profile, a call to action, something you need to learn more about and put into your profile. The second thing is a personal brand. You probably heard a lot about personal branding. It's a hot buzzword in business. I find people have a hard time describing what is personal branding. On LinkedIn specifically, it becomes very easy to build a personal brand that shows why people should choose you. It shows not just why your skills are a fit for why they should hire you, but it talks things that show your passion, your enthusiasm, your likability, your intelligence, your work ethic, your trust. That's really why someone chooses to hire you when you're in a service provider, when you're a service provider. It's not just about your skills fit, because you all basically look the same when you are just showing your skills and your experience. Every person who has a website or a LinkedIn profile says they're good at SEO. How do I know which one I can actually trust, which one I'm actually going to like working with, which one's going to work hard for me? That's what you need to start to build into your LinkedIn profile, stories and narratives that will show your passion, show your enthusiasm. Your LinkedIn profile should not just be your resume. If it is just your resume, you are making one of the biggest mistakes you can make on LinkedIn, and that will really torpedo your success on LinkedIn. People will find you and skip right over you if all they see is your resume. So just like your website is not a brochure, your profile should be more of a brand. It should talk more about those intangibles, and it should read more like a sales letter, telling your story, telling how you became who you are, what are your origins. Those are things that you build into your profile to have a conversion strategy in place. The last key, which really ties everything together, is showing up in the search results on LinkedIn and getting clients coming inbound to you on LinkedIn, which is what we all want. The last key is you need to build a deep, rich network on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, connections extend your depth and your reach. LinkedIn search is different than Google search in that you can only search through your network and 3 levels deep. You cannot search through the whole database on LinkedIn. And so what that means is if I'm a local business owner and I'm searching for someone who can help me with my SEO marketing, and I run that search, you want to show up in that search, of course, but if you and I don't share a connection in common, you don't show up in that search. So LinkedIn gives a strategic advantage to the person with the deeper, richer network, the person with more connections. You need to build depth into your network in order to be found, in order to come up in more searches. Let's look at this case study to help illustrate this point. And before I do this, if you're following me, if you get this concept of 3 degrees of separation and why bigger is better, go ahead and put yes into the chat box. If you're not following me on this, put no, so I know to spend a little bit more time with it. But I'm seeing lots of yeses coming in here. And so just to look at this case study real quick, This client came to me with 77 LinkedIn connections. It gave them access to 250,000 people. That sounds like a lot of people, right? But you have to remember, LinkedIn has well over 100 million members in the U.S. alone. And so what that means is actually this client did not have access to 99% of the people that were on LinkedIn. They weren't part of his 3 levels of his network. So after we built out their network to over 500 connections, they now had access to 47 million people on LinkedIn, nearly half of the LinkedIn community they could interact with now. You get 3 degrees of separation, 3 degrees of depth on LinkedIn. And you have a huge advantage in showing up in searches when you build more depth into your network. It's all about third level reach on LinkedIn. So the question that I'm seeing in the chat box, and you really should be all asking right now, is, Greg, what's the best way to grow our third level depth? Well, here's the secret. The secret is to connect with super connectors. Now, I'm an example of a super connector. And what that means is when you connect with me, that takes you all of 2 or 3 minutes. When you connect with me, instantly my 17,000 LinkedIn connections become a part of your network. My first level connections become your second level connections. And then my second level connections become your third level connection. So by you taking 3 minutes to connect with me, you're adding over 4 million people to your network in terms of your depth. Now people always ask me, Greg, is it about quality connections or quantity? Listen closely to my answer here. Because in the end, it's about quality. It's that one person who's going to show up, turn out to be a great client for you. It's that one quality connection that makes you succeed on LinkedIn. But the fastest way to get quality connections is to play the quantity game. If you're adding connections one at a time, the odds are stacked against you. It's going to be very slow, take you forever. You're probably going to get frustrated and give up on LinkedIn. If instead you're adding a super connector like me who brings 4 million people to your network, well, the odds are there's going to be 10, 20, 50, maybe even 100 quality connections for you out of those 4 million people that I bring to you. That's why you want to utilize super connectors. If you get that concept, go ahead and put yes into the chat box so that I see that you're following along on the power of super connectors. If you're not following with me on the power of super connectors, put no into the chat box. So it's tempting to think, well, Greg, if I had you, I add 4 million people to my depth. All I need to do is add 10 people like you, and I get 40 million people in my network, right? Well, it doesn't quite work out that way because there's a lot of overlapping connections amongst the super connectors. You need to add lots of super connectors to really extend your depth into the multi-millions and enable yourself to be found on LinkedIn. You want to go out and find super connectors, and that's the next thing I'm going to train you on here. I'm going to train you on how to use the advanced search feature to find super connectors, and even better yet, to find super connectors specifically in your industry and in your part of the country, even right in your zip code. The guy who knows everybody in town is on LinkedIn with their whole network. Their whole Rolodex is right there for you to tap into once you connect with that super connector. So here's how you find local super connectors. You go to the advanced search feature on LinkedIn, and you type in keywords related to the industry or type of business you want to find. You could just put in the words owner if you're targeting all local marketing, all local clients. Then what you want to do is put in your zip code and run the search. Here's the trick that most people don't know. You can sort the results by different ways. What you want to do is sort the list by number of connections. What this does is it ranks the list in order and puts the person with the most connections on LinkedIn in your zip code and in your industry, puts them at the top of the list. So here is, in order, a list of the most connected people in your community. Add these people to your network, and you'll now become one of the most connected people in your industry. Super connectors are what will grow your network fast. Again, I'm not telling you this so you can run out and connect with me. I certainly welcome you to connect with me. Here's my contact information to connect with me. I'm telling you this because I want you to find and add lots of super connectors. Super connectors in your local market, but also any super connector that can bring millions of people to your network is going to bring you lots of quality leads. It's about getting those leads fast, building up your depth fast so you can start showing up in searches today or as soon as possible and start getting inbound leads as soon as possible. Third level reach is the key to unlocking being found on LinkedIn. Unless you build out your network with lots of super connectors, you can do all the optimizations in the world. It's not going to get you anywhere. You have to have this depth in your network. Now, even better yet, the holy grail of networking on LinkedIn is to become a super connector for your industry. Follow with me here. People in your industry will want to connect with you to get access to your large LinkedIn network once they start to see you as a super connector from your industry and from your local market. And this means you won't ever have to spend time networking again on LinkedIn, because every day people will be connecting with you. To give you an example of this, this is where I am now. You don't need to become as big as me on LinkedIn. You can just become one of the most connected people in your zip code or in your industry. But you guys are all going to connect with me on LinkedIn, and then from that action, all of your friends are going to discover me on LinkedIn, and it just snowballs and perpetuates. And it frees up my time and will free up your time to do much more strategic things or to spend that time with your family. You won't have to spend time networking again once you become a super connector. That needs to be one of your goals. And one of the best ways to distinguish and establish yourself as a super connector is to build your network out with over 500 connections on LinkedIn. Once you get to 500 on LinkedIn, LinkedIn doesn't show the actual number of connections you have anymore. They don't want it to become a popularity contest. They want it to be, it just says 500 plus. So now no one can tell if you have 501 connections or are you as big as Greg with 4 million people. They can't tell. So that's one of the first big steps towards getting yourself positioned as a super connector. That's the highest level of success you can have on LinkedIn. Some of you may never get to this level. I just want you to be aware of what it is so that it's on your goal of things to be working towards. Now imagine this. Imagine I could add 500 super connectors to your network instantly, saving you all the time and effort of having to go out and build up your network so that you can be found, and building up your network so that you can be seen as a super connector. Remember, when I add 500 super connectors to your industry, they each average over 1,000 connections, who in turn average over 500 connections. We'd be adding over 50 million people to your depth in one sweeping motion if we could do this. Now LinkedIn will work so much better for you, just like you saw in the before and after case study. And what if also you could watch over my shoulder as I do everything you've learned today, step by step on LinkedIn with your very eyes, pausing anytime you need to go back to things. Because I realize we've covered a lot today, and we've moved at a pretty rapid pace to fit everything in. It certainly would be easier if you could watch and pause and ask any questions that you have. And along with that, what if you had my easy-to-follow blueprint on exactly what to do and say on LinkedIn, and I trained you over a 5-week period? Well, that is what my Ninja program is all about. It's a combination of training and coaching that gets you going to profits ASAP while equipping you with the tools to quickly turn LinkedIn into a 6-figure part-time endeavor. To learn more about the LinkedIn Ninja program, go now to the link you're seeing on your screen. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this. Before you go to that website, I want you to understand why you want to do this. You want to do this because you'll get more exposure and views on LinkedIn when you have an optimized profile. And you'll get inbound inquiries from pre-qualified clients, saving you from the grind of having to prospect for clients on your own. Your LinkedIn profile will be set up to pre-sell clients on selecting you. And with your impressive LinkedIn presence, this is the best part. Just like we saw in the case study today, clients will start asking you, hey, can you do my LinkedIn profile? Can you get me to the top of the search results and make my profile pre-sell like yours? So I would ask you, because some of you are asking me, how much is this program? I would ask you, how much is it worth to save yourself the stress and time and energy of trying to go out and do all this yourself? And how much money is it worth if this is going to bring you lots of leads on an ongoing basis? Give yourself an unfair advantage by going now to the link you'll see on your screen here to get in on our Linked Ninja program. If you want proof that our program works, I now have over 350 comments on our blog from clients singing our praises, and that's why I've been featured in the Wall Street Journal, Career Marketplace, and on NBC's daytime TV show. You can become this person at the top of the search results. I'll show you how. You'll watch right over my shoulder as I do this over and over again. You'll watch what I do. You'll pause the video, do it to your profile, and you'll do the next step. Next, you'll see your views and searches going up on LinkedIn. You'll know that this stuff works for you. And I want to remind you of something you already know. Until you build depth into your network, no amount of optimizations are going to work for you. This part alone, the hours it would take for you to go out and hunt and peck and find super connectors, when we're instantly connecting you with the top super connectors, that makes our program worth it in itself. We've already partnered with the top super connectors on LinkedIn, and they've agreed to accept the invitations from all of our clients. I'll give you that list and show you what to do with it so that you send the invitations in the right ways and you get connected to the top 500 super connectors on LinkedIn, exploding your network and getting you halfway to being a super connector. And by the way, I'm going to show you the rest of the way too, so you can ascend to that highest level of success on LinkedIn. So you get all three proven systems that I use to generate 45 new clients a week from LinkedIn. Remember, I showed with you today the systems that are the two best specifically for local marketers. I showed you the Ninja Matchmaker system and how to do LinkedIn SEO, but my very best system that works across all industries and the one that you can use for your clients as well, I call it the faucet, using LinkedIn groups, because you can turn it on and off just like a water faucet. We didn't even have time to really go into that system here today. You'll get training on that system as well. So to break down exactly what you get, the first module is the Ninja Matchmaker system you learned today in much more depth, step by step, so that you can just copy and paste and use the same messages I've used that are proven to work, sending out the phase 1 messages where you ask for the referral of the CPA, the phase 2 messages where you turn around and tell them you're going to make the recommendation, and the phase 3 where you approach the CPAs, word for word, so that all you have to do is copy and paste. Next, and let's just take a look, by the way, at some case studies from people just like you that have used this. David, who works with local marketers, does local marketing in the real estate niche in Miami, says these easy-to-implement strategies will give you more leads and clients than you'll know what to do with. Next, I show you LinkedIn SEO step by step. I show you all the right places to put your keywords to instantly shoot your profile to the top of the search results. And I show you how to make $300 an hour doing LinkedIn profiles for local online businesses. You're going to have the skills to do this. You'll be able to do it for yourself and be able to do it for your clients. Next, we get into LinkedIn groups. This is the real secret sauce to success on LinkedIn. How to set up your own group, all the different functionality you need to have in your group, what to say and do in your group, and how to name your group right so that it pre-qualifies leads for you. Exactly what to say and do when inviting people to your group and how to turn your group into a faucet for leads. In addition to that, I'm going to do something that I've never offered before, and I want to do for you guys to thank you for making today's training so successful. I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is and work with you to help you close your first deal on LinkedIn. To help you, when you get a client that says, hey, I'm interested in having you do my LinkedIn profile, and you'll get that following the system that I showed you here today, just by sending the same messages, you can set up a conference call for the three of us, and I'll close the deal for you. That's me putting my time and my money where my mouth is, because I'm so sure that you're going to succeed with this. LinkedIn can become a whole new revenue stream for you. Take a look at what Jenna has been able to do with her business. Once my contacts see my profile, they ask me to do their profile, and I make an easy extra $1,200 a month for a couple hours of work. That's what I expect to hear from you. Conversion strategies is the next module in our training. How to craft calls to action. You don't want to have to spend time Googling about calls to action and learning how to write them and figuring out where to put them in your profile. Let me just show you what's proven to work best, including the one thing every profile must have to be successful. You get all of these training modules included when you go now to the link that you're seeing on your screen and in your chat box. You get everything you need to generate massive exposure on LinkedIn, to get showing up in searches and get people viewing your profile. And you get the conversion strategies to convert that exposure into phone calls and into clients. You need both. Success with super connectors is the next module in our training. This is how to get to the highest level of success on LinkedIn. To position yourself as a super connector, there are 3 things you must do in addition to getting yourself to the 500 connections. I'll show you how to get to those things and how to get anyone and everyone to want to connect with you. Remember, once you're a super connector, you'll never have to spend time on networking again. Things will just flow inbound to you, including your own list. You know, internet marketing always sounds like it would be so easy if we just had a list of people. Well, I'm going to show you how to build a list on LinkedIn. There's certain things that are free and easy to do on LinkedIn, and it can become like your own opt-in list where you can promote all kinds of offers over and over again. Carrie Wilkerson, one of my clients, I helped her to generate 313 registrations to her email list and webinar in 1 week. And I'm going to show you those same strategies that I used in working with Carrie. The last module in this training program is advanced recommendations. How to get your first 5 recommendations as a local marketer before you even do anything. A lot of times you're starting out new, you don't have any recommendations yet. That goes a long ways into getting people to trust you when you have recommendations. I'm going to show you how to do that and also how to write recommendations in a way that turns them into traffic drivers for you. The last module is building your sales force. There are lots of other people out there on LinkedIn that sell things like web development services. That's one of the most popular types of businesses that are on LinkedIn. They don't even offer any marketing or SEO services. You can easily partner with them and get web design firms to resell your SEO services so that you're just the middle guy. They're out there selling it. You're turning around and outsourcing the work. You're just the one putting it all together on LinkedIn. That's what Brett does using my system. Take a look at this case study. I've successfully used LinkedIn to find and develop business partners to resell my white label SEO programs. LinkedIn is a gold mine for developing partners. That's what it is, and that's what it will be for you. So it's 8 modules total. It gives you step-by-step strategies proven to work for B2B lead generation, any sort of business service lead generation. This will work like gold for you. These are the best ways to put cash in your pocket on LinkedIn. And then on top of that, you're getting my personal help to ensure you succeed. This 8-week training module is regularly priced at $5.99. If you go to our main website, you'll see it there every day selling for that price. And if you got it for that price, it would be one of the best investments you made all year long in your business because of the number of leads this is going to give you. And remember, I'm willing to bet on you. I'm willing to help you close your first deal. We'll be 50-50 partners on your first client, and that one first client alone should pay back your investment in your program with me helping you close them on hiring you to do their LinkedIn profile for them. Take a look at what Jonathan had to say after he implemented the Ninja Matchmaker system here. Greg's LinkedIn training is my marketing plan now. It puts money in my pocket every week. That's what I expect to hear from you. Now, best of all, because you've made today's webinar a complete success, because I want to get out there and work with you, you're going to be able to get the entire, our slides are jumping ahead there, the entire training for half price today. Not $600, but less than $300, only $299 today only. My guarantee this complete training comes with. Try it out for 30 days risk-free, meaning invest now. If you don't like it for any reason or no reason at all, just contact me and I'll return every penny of your purchase. Go now to the link you're seeing on your screen, to the link in your chat box, and claim your spot in our program. When you get there, you simply click off the accept button and fill in your contact information, and you'll have your spot secured. If you don't have PayPal, we take all major credit cards or PayPal. It's your choice. Since the program's at half price now, there's no point in us offering a payment plan. We do have a payment plan, but you'd wind up paying the full price. You're getting it for just the one payment today when you go now to the link you're seeing on your screen. Now, what if you're brand new to LinkedIn? Will this work for me? That's one of the most common questions I'm seeing in the chat box right now. By the way, I'd ask that you still please continue to hold your questions specifically about LinkedIn. We'll get to those once we open up the Q&A in just a few minutes here. But this is one of the most common things I see asked a lot. And I don't want you to worry if that's you, because we have another 5 trainings course that we've put together that's going to give you the fundamentals of LinkedIn. If you're brand new and need to start right from the beginning, you're going to get this additional training. So how to set up a LinkedIn account from scratch, the right way, the fastest way, the best way. This 15-minute video will show you how to get started on LinkedIn today. What's the best mindset and philosophy to have on LinkedIn? What's the mindset behind how LinkedIn works? These fundamentals will set up your success so that even if you're brand new, you'll be able to step in and start using the lead generation strategies I've taught you here today. How does the LinkedIn user interface work? They've recently had changes to their user interface. We're going to show you exactly how to do all the basics on LinkedIn here when you go now to the link that you're seeing on your screen. How to identify your target clients. One of the core concepts we saw on here, we saw us use today was the advanced search feature. If you're not familiar with advanced search, you need this training module to get yourself up to speed. It's what a lot of the other trainings are built on. And really the secret sauce to LinkedIn, the LinkedIn groups. And I cover in this secret sauce video how to get the functionality of the paid account for free on LinkedIn. So the paid account costs $50 a month for the good level that you would really need. I show you some sneaky ways to get around that so that you get all the same functionality of the paid account without paying for it. That means instead of you paying $50 a month or $600 over the next year, you'll be getting all that same functionality on LinkedIn. And that's more than twice what your investment is in the program here today. If all we did was show you how to get the free account on LinkedIn without paying for it, get that same functionality, this program would be well worth its investment. So do you realize the total value you're getting today in this training? This is the fastest path to success and profits on LinkedIn there is, specifically for local marketers. You can do this. It will work for anyone. You just need to go now to the link you're seeing on your screen. And if you act right now and do this right now, you're going to qualify for these bonuses. The first of our fast action bonuses is group coaching live with me. I'll be there live to answer your questions each month for the next 3 months. Anything you go through the training that's not clear to you, anything that needs to be adapted to your situation. Maybe you're a realtor and you want to know how can I best use these same strategies in a realtor niche, right? That's the type of thing we can talk about in these monthly coaching calls. Also, you'll have an opportunity for me to personally review your LinkedIn profile to make sure you did everything right. I'll do hot seat group coaching calls where I'll look over your profile, I'll critique it for you. Now, this is after you've been through the full 5 weeks of training and done everything in your profile. I'll make sure you did it right. So this ensures your success because if you get anything wrong, I'll look it over and tell you what you need to fix. And you'll get to watch as I critique everyone else's profile as well. So you'll learn a lot from these profile critique calls. You get one certificate to have me critique your profile one time. I normally don't do critiques individually. I'm doing that just for you local marketers because I want you to succeed. I want to be able to help you close that deal. I want to be able to split the revenue with you and have those case studies to continue to build our success, just like you've seen the case studies today. You'll also get my LinkedIn service pricing matrix list, which shows you the best prices to offer for all the best local marketing services that are out there. You're also going to get training on new apps that come out on LinkedIn. Every time LinkedIn launches something new, like the Signal app, for example, this is the type of thing we'll talk about in our coaching calls. Each month, you'll be up to date on the latest things on LinkedIn. Take a look at what Forbes has to say about this app. They're calling it a threat to Facebook, Google, and Microsoft. That's how big this one app is on LinkedIn rather. That's the type of thing we'll be talking about. As I already mentioned, you're going to get my super connector list. So I'll show you what to do with this so you can explode your network into the multi-millions, saving you all the time of having to go hunt and peck and build your network out, and positioning you as a super connector because you'll now have over 500 connections. If you look at the total value included with everything you're getting here today that comes with this 100% money back guarantee, you're getting the entire Linked Ninja training course for half what it normally costs. You're getting our fundamentals training course. You're getting the 3 coaching calls with me, the group coaching call. You're getting the profile critique certificate. You're getting the LinkedIn service and pricing matrix. You're getting a chance to work with me personally to close your first client and doing their LinkedIn profile. You can't even put a price on that or my super connector list. You add up everything that's included, it's over $1,500 in total value. That's real value that you're getting when you go now to the link that you're seeing on your screen, and you're getting it all today for only $299. Don't have a PayPal account, that's okay. It's Visa, MasterCard, Discover, American Express that we take. This is your opportunity to be found. This is your opportunity to have leads coming inbound to you on LinkedIn. Your opportunity to make things happen with the Ninja Matchmaker system. It's so easy. You just copy and paste. And to have the faucet strategy using groups. But your opportunity to be found is washing away. We're not going to be able to take everyone into this program because it has the coaching element. Space in this program is very limited. This offer is very limited. You need to go now to the link you're seeing on the screen to enroll yourself in this program. I'm a big Anthony Robbins fan. I was just out to see him recently, and I think this quote from him really sums up where we are right now together in this training. Lots of people know what to do. Success comes to those who take action now. I've given you exactly what to do on LinkedIn. I've shown you the case studies of how this has worked for everyone who's gone out and do it. This is about you getting some help to get this up and running faster and sooner. This is about you getting a top mentor and modeling people that are already successful at this. And this is your chance to get that help when you go now to the link that's on the screen. Those of you that have joined us, I want to welcome you. And I want you to notice the feeling of relief you're having right now, the feeling of hope you're having in your business. Some of you maybe for the first time. You're finally seeing and feeling something that you know can work for you, something that not very many people are using LinkedIn in this way. These are unique and creative strategies on LinkedIn, and the reason they work so well is they're specifically geared for local marketers. So what's left for you to get more leads than you can handle? We've only able to take a limited number of clients here, as we said. This is your chance to enroll in this 5-week training courses, plus you get instant access to the first 2 modules and the bonuses on the fundamentals. Over the 5-week training, you will come up to speed on everything you need to know on LinkedIn. We break this out over 5 weeks so that you don't get overwhelmed and so that you can learn each step, come to a coaching call, answer any questions, and progress and build on each other. Go now to the link you're seeing on the screen, the link in your chat box to join us and to get my personal help. Everything you've seen here today is included. The Link Ninja training modules, the fundamentals, the coaching calls, the profile critiques, the pricing matrix, and your chance to work with me live. This is everything you need to succeed on LinkedIn to start getting clients and to start getting clients to do your LinkedIn profile. They're going to love to hire you to do your LinkedIn profile for them. Okay, we are finally moving on to the Q&A here today. And I'd like to start by hearing about any situations or businesses you have where you're wondering whether or not you think this is the right fit for you. I want to make sure to answer those questions first because our program may be selling out any minute now, and I want to help you make the right decision about whether or not this is the right fit for you. You know, I'm not afraid to tell you if I don't think your type of business is the right fit for our program. This works best with local marketing. It can work well with SEO, with mobile, with graphic design, with web development. Those are all the things we've seen case studies from today. Social media, Facebook. But that doesn't mean this won't work for other niches. But I'm just being straight up with you that that's what this is geared specifically to work best for. If you're in marketing or finance businesses, the faucet group strategy that's included in the training will work really, really well for you, no matter what type of business you're in. I have a client who's a carpet cleaner. That strategy with the LinkedIn group system is one that you'll be able to take and implement for your clients. Your clients will be hiring you to do more and more of this stuff on LinkedIn for them. Another common question I'm seeing coming in is, what if I'm international? How does this work differently for me? Well, the reason this works so well, no matter where in the world you're based, is that the SEO is based on keyword optimization. And so no matter where in the world you're based, you're going to be showing up at the top of the search results using the keyword strategies that I've shown you here today, and that's going to get you inbound clients. In markets that are less established, especially internationally, there's a lot less competition. So it actually means the doors are a lot more open for you. Chiropractic, doctors, lawyers, accountants, those are all businesses that are ideal clients for you if you're a local marketer because they're already on LinkedIn. Their clientele is on LinkedIn. They want the people that are making over $100,000 a year. That's why you're going to see them on LinkedIn. That's why they're going to have great success on LinkedIn. They could easily take a lot of the strategies we've learned here today and adapt that for those types of businesses as well. And again, no matter if you're in your local market, no matter if you're international, no matter where you are, you will be able to adapt these strategies to help you build your clientele. LinkedIn in general does not work as well if you're trying to promote consumer-based products, so like a diet product or a fitness product. That's the type of audience that's not so well suited for LinkedIn. You want business people or businesses in general are the ones that are the best suited for LinkedIn. The program comes with my complete 30-day money-back guarantee. Go through the whole course. If at the end of the course you feel like this isn't the right fit for you, no hard feelings, no questions asked. We'll gladly have your money back. I want you to succeed with this because I'm doing this to build up my clientele and my case studies and continue to partner with you. I want to help you close more deals on LinkedIn. That's going to bring more revenue into me. That's why I'm willing to bet on you and do this at half price today because I know that you guys are the ones who can take this out there and will more than make our money back in the long run by working together to close LinkedIn deals. Other questions that I commonly see are what if I'm brand new on LinkedIn or not a member of LinkedIn at all yet? Because we have that fundamentals training, that's what's going to get you up to speed fastest. That's what's going to allow you to get things started. Literally, you can watch, you'll get instant access to the fundamentals videos, and you can watch the first video. It's a 15-minute video. Follow what's in there, have your profile set up in about another 15 minutes. So about 30 minutes to get started, and you'll be up and running on LinkedIn. Okay, I want to just bring Jason and Will back out to see if they have anything to add to what we've been covering here today, and then we'll go ahead and go back through and continue with the questions that we've been getting here today.
Hey, Greg.
Hey, Jason.
I am just all over the place here. I'm on a different computer because you're controlling my computer. I got my headset from my other computer, but I'm looking at this computer, and I don't know if you noticed, but I've been typing like a madman trying to help everybody out individually who is having questions and things like that.
Yeah, it was really a genius job pulling this together today where we ran things on your computer with me running the controls.
No, there's always a solution, right? Now,
that's the engineer in you.
The reason I bring that up, Greg, as far as me being watching the questions is I'll probably switch off to answering individually now. So if you were used to me typing really quick back and forth to you, I'm going to have to take a break from that now. But I can address some of the questions that people were bringing in, Greg, that you could probably help answer. There was very common questions that I've seen over and over again. First of all, before we dive back in and answer any and all those questions, I just want everybody to know, if the checkout process seems very familiar to you, when you go to ilovethisoffer.com/ninja, that's because there's a very specific reason that is. Rapid Crush Inc., we are the publisher for Greg Wells and for the Link Ninja. And we do that because we believe in this program so much. It was maybe a year or 2 years ago where Greg introduced me to the power of LinkedIn and how he was using it in his business. And immediately I said, hey, Greg, dude, you got to come in and we got to market this thing. And Greg was kind of like, well, you know what? I make so much damn money on LinkedIn already. And he wasn't brash like that. That's just how I tell it. But Greg was like, man, I already got this rocking and rolling business on LinkedIn. I do this stuff all the time. I don't want to be a full-on guru teacher who just teaches this stuff. I would rather do it. So I said, hey, let's work out a deal. Why don't Will and I take care of the plumbing, right? Which means like setting up the members areas and doing all that stuff, and you just get on and do a couple trainings like this, and you create the product, and we'll work out a deal. And that's what we did with Greg. So this is actually a Rapid Crush Inc. product, and that's good for a few reasons. If you sign up for this at ilovethisoffer.com/ninja and you need support, guess who gives the support? We do, okay? Rapid Crush Inc. does support. And I don't know if you've had experience with our support in the past, but it's absolutely wonderful. In addition to that, for whatever weird reason, if you want your money back without even giving us a reason, guess who gives it back to you? Not Greg, and you may or may not know Greg. we do it. Wilson and I and our support staff will give you the refund. So it's just not just marketing hype when we say we stand behind this product. We literally stand behind this product because we are the behind the scenes for the delivery of this product. And delivery works as follows. Greg, help me explain this. How is this course delivered, and why is it delivered in the way that it is delivered?
Okay, so the course is the core Ninja training, which is the lead generation training specific for local marketers, is delivered over a 5-week period. And so you'll get 2 to 3 new modules each week. You'll have instant access to the first set of modules, which goes back through the Ninja Matchmaker technique that you learned today. That's the part most of you told me you were most excited about. You'll be able to get started with that right away today. You'll get instant access to that. You also get instant access to the fundamentals training. If you're brand new to LinkedIn, you'll want this. If you actually won't need this if you're more established on the basics of LinkedIn already. You'll be able to jump right into the matchmaker training and start producing leads right away. But the fundamentals training is there for if you need it or if you want it. You want to make sure you set things up right and are doing other things right. You'll get instant access to that as well. So it's every week you'll have 2 to 3 new modules coming out. In week 2, I believe we covered the LinkedIn SEO more in depth. You'll see me build a keyword strategy, put it in all the right places on a profile. You'll watch me do it live. Pause the video, you do it. Week 3, we cover conversion strategies. Week 4, we get into the faucet. That group strategy, the faucet, is the most famous strategy that I'm well known for. That's the one my book is about. That's the one that I've seen I've gotten so much success with because that strategy works for any type of business. I have a carpet cleaner that uses it. I have local marketers that use it. I have real estate and insurance people that use that strategy. That's a strategy that if you're a local marketer, you'll be able to take and go implement for your clients. But if you're also in any of those businesses, you'll be able to take that training and go use it as well. So that's kind of how this unfolds. At the end of the training course, after you've done everything, because there are going to be things you're going to need to do to your profile, and throughout the training, we'll have coaching calls each month where you can come and ask any questions if you get stumped or if you want to kind of adapt something unique for your situation, I'm there for you. But at the end of the training, that's when you can submit your profile for a critique, and I'll look it over. I'll make sure you did everything right. I'll tell you what you need to fix to make it even better, and that ensures your success by the end of the training course. So that's how it's going to flow for those of you that have joined us today. I want to welcome those of you that have joined us here today. I look forward to working with you.
Hey, Greg, and just to follow up with that, so that's what the modules are going to be in the members area, but the reason why we're delivering them without, like, dropping them all on your head at once, as opposed to doing this in this curricular fashion that we've laid out over 5 weeks.
Yeah, the training really builds on each other. And, it's one thing to learn these things in the video, but then you want to actually go out and do some of these things. Because as you're doing it is where you get fully engaged and you really learn the best to do it. And then you'll be able to build on those concepts so much better. I found if you just try to go through all the videos once, concurrently without doing things each step of the way, you get completely overwhelmed. So feedback has been much better. Everyone has been very happy now that they're going through this in progression. With each week getting a few new things to learn so that it's not overwhelming. You learn a few new things to do, and you go do it. And also it gets you doing things. It gets you doing things and getting results faster instead of spending all your time just learning things. It's the doing is the part that's going to bring you leads and bring you clients and make you money, and that's what we want to get to as fast as possible.
Yeah, and I want to remind everybody, Greg, they're not familiar with this like you and I are. We originally released a version of LinkedIn last year together, and at the time I believe everybody got everything as soon as they logged in, correct?
Correct.
And see, here's what we found out, and this is what Greg was hinting at. We found out that LinkedIn is, and it's been a year later, LinkedIn is still a relatively new concept for a lot of people. You're not familiar with it necessarily like you would be with a Facebook or a Twitter, and furthermore, LinkedIn is its own unique beast, where it has some peculiarities that once Greg shows them to you, you're going to be like, oh my goodness, this is awesome because nobody else knows about this stuff. However, because it is kind of a new concept for most people to generate and build 2,000 leads per week style of stuff like Greg does, we found out if we gave everybody all the stuff at once, it was not as good as breaking down the curriculum and delivering it like we have done it now. So we do that not because of any other reason than we found it's more effective for you to get results with, and that's the bottom line on that one. So switching gears, Greg, let me try to answer this question, and then you tell me how good I'm doing at it, okay? Because I've seen this question over and over again still. My business is blank, or I do blank, or I want to do blank. Could LinkedIn help me? All right? And that's a very good question. And my answer to that is it depends. LinkedIn is not a media, and I don't think there is any media in the world that can be all things to all people and work effectively for, you know, how to make money knitting as it would be for homeschooling your children, you know. LinkedIn, there's some businesses where it just flat out won't work in. On the other hand, there's businesses where LinkedIn will work better than any other thing on the planet will. And here's how I can tell you to discover on your own and evaluate whether or not LinkedIn will work perfectly for your business or a potential thing that you want to do online. Okay, anything business to business related. Will that be good for LinkedIn? What are your thoughts on that, Greg? Yes or no?
Absolutely yes for businesses. If you're selling to businesses, then that's the platform that's on LinkedIn.
That's perfect.
Consumer-based products, not so much.
Yeah, so exactly what I want to say is anything business to business related, meaning if you can help somebody rank better, like a local business owner, perfect. If you can help somebody develop a better LinkedIn profile presence to increase their business or to increase their reach on LinkedIn, perfect, right? If you're doing anything where you're helping a local business owner improve their business, get more leads, get more exposure, reputation management, social media marketing, et cetera, this LinkedIn is by far better than Facebook, in my opinion. Okay? Typically, I say Facebook is for consumers, LinkedIn is for businesses. Now, let me tell you this. Let me ask everybody who's listening. Who do you think pays more money? Businesses or consumers? And the answer is obviously businesses. Hey, Greg, $107,000 a year. Is that the annual income that the average person on LinkedIn makes?
Yes, it is, Jason.
Interesting. And that's not what it makes on Facebook. So business to business services that are related are perfect. Somebody says to me, though, well, Jason, I really want to make a go at selling this thing on how to grow your own bonsai trees. Would LinkedIn help me on that? My answer to you is absolutely not. Instead, though, I would say forget the bonsai tree thing, okay? And instead, figure out a service that you could sell tomorrow to a local business owner and use Greg's techniques for. In this case, it's easier to start from scratch, specifically targeting local businesses, and use Greg's approach than it probably is for most people to attempt to resurrect a dying project that they're attempting to make money online with. If you're that kind of person where you've been trying to build this niche site and it hasn't made you any money for a couple months, I say just dump it. Get rid of it. We'll cut it loose. And instead start from scratch. And what better way to start from scratch than targeting businesses exactly how Greg teaches you on LinkedIn. And the best part of all, and this is why I was so sold on this concept when I heard Greg talk about it. And by the way, he didn't know I was listening to him. I just overheard him say it, and I hunted him down. I said, dude, we got to sell a whole bunch of Ninja stuff because this concept is brilliant. And here it is. He approaches business, and he says, hey, I am looking for the top blank in this area, whether it's top CPA, top lawyer, top dentist, top chiropractor, top whatever, right? Now think about this. He is asking them for their opinion on who the best person is on a network that is specifically built around referrals. That's what LinkedIn is, to find people and to refer people, right? So what he does is he gets these people to tell him, I either know this person, or they say, I don't know this person. I don't know anybody to recommend, but I sure would like to know somebody. Then he goes to the other person, and he says, I got all these people on LinkedIn who are looking for somebody that's really good at this, and you're really good at this. Can I send them over to you? Now, Greg has 3 different distinct ways you can make money just right there, stopping and doing nothing more but flipping the leads, right? But furthermore, Greg shows you actually ways that make that laughable on how profitable it is. And now here's the most brilliant thing. What is somebody going to do when you're doing this stuff, when you're sending them these messages, when you're saying, hey, do you know this top person or that thing or whatever, what we call the ninja matchmaking technique? Guess what happens, okay? These people start investigating you. They're like, who the hell is this person? Is coming to me with this message. Let me look at their LinkedIn profile, right? And guess what happens? If you optimized it the way Greg has taught you, when they go and they look at that LinkedIn profile of yours, what's the typical thing that occurs, Greg?
Once they look at your profile, they're going to be contacting you. Hey, can I hire you to do this kind of thing? Because your profile is going to show them what they do and how that's going to create solutions for them.
Yeah, if you look at Greg's profile, for example, it's different than 99.9% of other LinkedIn profiles. The thing that I've always joked about with LinkedIn is we could literally take the names off of every profile and randomly put them back on, and you would have no idea that we did that because every damn profile looks exactly the same on LinkedIn almost. Greg stands out. Yours is going to stand out equally as powerfully once you follow Greg's advice in the Link Ninja training program. Now, guess what happens when people, and I know we've had students in Link Ninja who have had this exact thing happen to them. You're contacting the businesses before you go even any further. By the end of that day, they said, dude, your LinkedIn profile is so awesome. Can you do that for me? And you got one of two options. You can either say yes and give me the money and I'll do it, or you can say, well, hold on, let me contact Greg, and Greg will come in and close the deal for you. He'll take half the money, but at least that's a guaranteed sell. But either way, you can benefit. So that's one of the many myriads of ways that these LinkedIn techniques can generate money for you. And finally, it's like everybody's using Facebook to try to do this stuff, and that leaves LinkedIn wide open. And that's where this is a lot of opportunity for people who can jump on it, and we want to facilitate this for you. I was answering somebody earlier, I think his name was Kurt, Greg, and he says, oh, your marketers marketing to marketers. You're telling us about you're only taking in a limited amount of people at this price point. He goes, give me a break. You're telling me you'll churn money down? And I answered him one-on-one, but I want everybody to hear this answer. I said to him, this is absolutely no bull. Now, we won't churn your money down. If you want to take LinkedIn later, Link Ninja later, we'll totally let you, and we won't turn your money down. But you will pay $499.95. You will not pay $299.95. And that is because Greg is on the hook for these coaching calls. Greg is on the hook for this profile optimization stuff. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff in the members area we didn't even talk about today that Greg is on the hook for. And so while naturally we want to sell as many of these as possible, we don't want everybody to buy at a discount because then Greg's going to get screwed in the end and I'm going to get screwed in the end. So there's no bull with that. The reason why we have that discount and why that page expires, once you go to ilovethisoffer.com/ninja and you'll see that countdown timer ticking down. That's the why, and that's the reason why we're doing that. And so I just want to make sure everybody's aware of that. Now, with that said, I understand if you have to maybe talk to your spouse over before you invest in this course, or maybe you have a business partner that you work with, or perhaps it's just a matter of you want to show somebody else this page. That's fine. And in fact, we're going to try to get the replay out to you in actually a couple hours, depending on how fast we can render this bad boy. But when that page is gone, it is gone. And if you followed me for any amount of time, you know that's true. So with that said, Greg, let me throw it back to you with this question. And then this is a question I've got. It's related to profiles. First of all, people were wondering, what if I have separate businesses or I do separate things? Do I do separate profiles, or how do I work it out in a way where maybe I'm doing multiple things online? How do these things not conflict on LinkedIn?
Yeah, that is a good and common question, Jason. I see a lot of people that do more than one thing. And let me first answer that by stating it's against LinkedIn's terms of service to have more than one profile. And it's not worth the risk of having one of your LinkedIn shut down to have two profiles. So that's not the solution. There are some strategies that I teach in the training about how to build your profile around your core values as a person, and then how to have separate groups for each of your different niches that you're in. And that can allow you to do that. And that's how I do it if you look at my profile as well. If my profile is talking about core values, and then I have different groups and different funnels right on, all built within LinkedIn to do this. Ultimately, I would say, though, you want to really just look at which of my businesses is going to work best on LinkedIn. And you want to prevent yourself from falling into the trap of trying to be all things to all people. Because as soon as somebody sees you do this, but also do this, how good could you really be at doing the first thing if you're spending half your time doing each of these things? So while there are some solutions to it, the core advice is the more focus you can get in your business, the more success you're going to have on LinkedIn.
Yes, good advice. And frankly, I mean, you could pull it off either way, and Greg teaches you either way. If you look at Greg's LinkedIn profile, he has stuff on there for job seekers, which is one of his niches, and he also has stuff on there for local marketers, which is which is what he teaches, what a lot of the Link Ninja is geared around. And he makes both of them work. But I mean, if you're like in all like 15 or 20 different little micro niches, don't try to put them all on your profile on LinkedIn. Instead, pick the one that you think is going to make you the most money on LinkedIn and start with that one. If after you've really built up a good brand awareness around that one thing and you've got a good following on LinkedIn, then you want to start introducing some of the other stuff, sure, you might as well do that. And Greg, there was something, oh man, somebody asked this earlier. Oh, I know exactly what it is. And your technique on this is so genius. And people will learn this in Link Ninja, but people are wondering, what about if somebody hires me to do the LinkedIn profile optimization for them, would I get their password to log in? And how does that work? Can you explain that real quickly?
Yes. So if somebody hires you to do their LinkedIn profile, the best way to do that is live with them there. And so I'm going to walk you through exactly how we do LinkedIn profiles for our clients and show you the steps that you would do. And you'll do it to your own profile first. That's how you're going to learn how to do this. And then you'll be able to use those same steps to do it for other clients as well. But the highest value perception for you with your clients is if they're there with you live, doing it there live with you, watching as you're doing, learning how they're doing it. That way they have full trustworthiness that you're not going to do anything in their profile when they're not there. That is a concern for a lot of people, that they're already connected to their friends and their coworkers, and the thought of you tinkering around in their social media, that's one of the big reasons that people are so hesitant to hire you to do their social media or their LinkedIn for them. Is what if something goes wrong? It's really just a ticking time bomb until something does go wrong if you're doing it on your own. So I would recommend you do it with them there live. That also keeps you squeaky clean in compliance with LinkedIn's terms of service, which technically says you're not supposed to give your password to anyone. And it creates the highest value perception that allows you to command the best rates that you can possibly do. So when you have a client that wants your LinkedIn profile ready to be done for them, and they're going to be coming inbound to you with this system, with this training, you'll set up a conference call with me, you and that client. We'll get on there together. I'll give them two prices, one where they work with me to do it, one where they work with you. Whichever one they take, we'll split it 50-50, but I will help you close them on hiring you through your business to do their LinkedIn profile for them. And that's going to become a whole new revenue source for you to add to your business. Or someone was asking me, what if I don't even have a business yet, or I'm just starting out? That could become your business. People are more and more needing and wanting information about LinkedIn. They've seen LinkedIn's huge successful IPO. They've seen Facebook struggling with their IPO. They're realizing that LinkedIn's place in the business world really is secured in here for the long term. People are starting to really invest in their LinkedIn presence. And that's what you're going to learn how to do for yourself, but also learn how to do for your clients. One good client, one person. Or if you have existing clients, you just tell them about this new service that you can offer, get them on the phone with me and you, and one new client, you more than pay for your investments here in the Link Ninja training program.
Yeah, and absolutely. Just want to reiterate two things what you said, Greg. First, when you said live, you don't mean face-to-face, nose-to-nose, toes-to-toes. We mean live online in a digital meeting where you basically can look over their shoulders. They do the work, and you just tell them what needs to be done. And all you do is follow Greg's checkpoint list, basically, is what it is. It's a step-by-step profile optimization guide. In addition to that, what Greg was saying about the inbound, this is going to happen inbound. What he means by that is if you follow our training and just do exactly what Greg lays out, you won't sell to people on LinkedIn. People will come to you and request your services, okay? And basically they will come to you and ask you how much, which is the easiest sales close in the world. And that's the whole design of this system. Greg is so busy with what he does on LinkedIn, he doesn't have time to go out there, hunt people down, and try to sell them. Instead, he builds systems in LinkedIn where people come to him and ask him to sell them. They ask him how much money they need to pay him. And the Ninja Matchmaker is one of many techniques that he uses. What you're going to really love is the faucet technique, which involves, I believe that one involves the LinkedIn groups. Yes, Greg?
Yes, exactly.
Yes, and so Greg has showed me, for example, how he's doing it. I've seen how Jonathan Green, was just one of his case studies earlier, was doing it. And I've seen how other people have done it who take Link Ninja, because I get to spy in on this stuff, you know? And basically,
A LinkedIn group allows you to use LinkedIn as an email list pretty much. So all the followers in your group, you can send out an email from LinkedIn to them once a week and reach all of them. And think of how many groups you can have that can do that. Now let me ask you a question. A, do you think it's easier to get people on a group than it is to get them on an email list? Go ahead and type that in if you're not sure. Do you think it's easier to get them to join a LinkedIn group or an email list, like a regular squeeze page? The answer is obviously a group. But is the result the same? And the answer is obviously yes. It is the same. Because once a week in LinkedIn, through the group, you can mass email the whole group. Just like you would a regular email. Now furthermore, is the quality of the lead lesser or greater? And the answer is greater, because the average person on LinkedIn is usually a professional who makes $107,000 a year, when the average person on an email list in general probably is nowhere near as a good a quality of person. And furthermore, with the techniques Greg shows you, guess what happens? Once you help them out, you follow up with them and you get them to advertise for you on your behalf on their LinkedIn profile about how great you are at LinkedIn. And this is how the thing just keeps feeding into itself over and over again. Did I give away too much there, Greg?
That's okay.
Cool, man, cool. So very passionate, sign it up. I mean, the most you're out is a couple hours to go through some of the training and then link into support, requesting your money back. I mean, that's the most you risked, okay? What you really risk is not signing up, letting that page expire before your eyes and wondering, what if, what if, what if? What if I would have took this training? How could my life be different 30 days or 5 weeks from now? And please don't do that, okay? Between this and the webinar legend training, which we talked about the other week, I mean, this is the gold mine, because I don't think they're really aware. You didn't talk about this, Greg, but you actually take people and funnel them from LinkedIn onto a webinar once a week. And you make a ton of money taking leads from LinkedIn into a webinar that necessarily doesn't have to be live and selling them.
That's exactly right. And so the faucet group strategy, again, we didn't talk about that because it's not as local marketing specific as we wanted today's training to be, but that's a strategy that works for all markets, and it can drive people into your opt-in list. I use it to drive people into my webinar, and we consistently get about 2,000 registrations a week using LinkedIn groups, using this combination of strategies in LinkedIn groups. So if you're doing webinars or looking to build an email list or any sort of information marketing to businesses, then this training on LinkedIn is really going to help you get lots of traffic and lots of leads.
Yeah, that's a great point, Greg. And I know you mentioned this slightly earlier. I may have missed it because I was so busy typing in answers. But you worked with Carrie Wilkerson. I don't know how she's branding herself today. Is she, what does she go by?
Barefoot Executive still, yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, I thought so. I wasn't sure. So she's the Barefoot Executive, very well known in the internet marketing space. And can you share what you helped Carrie do on LinkedIn and the results?
Yeah, Carrie was launching a program called Fill Your Stadium, and had hired me to do her LinkedIn profile. And she really, she's most well known on Twitter and Facebook. She really had never done anything at all on LinkedIn. And so she set up this group strategy. I think I had a slide in here that gave the exact numbers. It was over 300 registrations she added to her email list and to her webinar in just a week's time using the strategy. And also with the conversion strategies module, what Carrie does is she really just uses her LinkedIn profile as another landing page. Because she's B2C, she's big on Twitter and Facebook, and she works a lot with coaches. But instead of inviting people to her website, she invites them to her LinkedIn profile, and then she has her LinkedIn profile basically optimized to read just like her sales page would. And she literally gets sales and business coming in right from her LinkedIn profile without doing anything on LinkedIn. She still does the prime of her business on Twitter and Facebook. It's just another landing place. It's another place for people to find you and buy from you when you have your LinkedIn profile set up the way we teach you in the conversion strategies module. The other thing that as I'm seeing some people asking, would this be good for me in various industries? Some of these people are dealing with more consumer-based products. Here's the thing that I would want you to think about with regards to your LinkedIn strategy. So it will be a little different than those that are targeting businesses. But what you want to look for are partners on LinkedIn, partners who have email lists or newsletters of consumers. Because essentially we're all really in the B2B business if you think about it. If you sell diet or fitness products, the person on LinkedIn is the business owner who owns lots of emails, lots of lists, and lots of newsletters of people who are in that fitness niche or whatever niche it might be. Someone was asking about the education niche or the motivational niches, personal development niches. The people that are the business owners that have access to all those people are the people on LinkedIn. So you would take the strategies that we're teaching you here and adapt them, not so much looking directly for clients and leads, but adapt them, and I work with you in the coaching calls to adapt these strategies to developing new partners for your business.
Greg, that's a great point. I wanted to even, that reminded me actually, I saw more than one person asked us about joint venture related in nature. And I don't think I answered it as good as I can now based on what you just said. And so, let me break down furthermore what Greg said, because it's absolute gold. And you're going to find every time you listen to this guy, it's absolute gold when he breaks down LinkedIn stuff and marketing stuff in general, but specifically related to LinkedIn. Okay, so get this. Say you want to sell something related to weight loss. Like maybe you got a weight loss ebook, and that's what you want to sell. Okay, if you were to go into LinkedIn and try to sell that book as is, not a very good strategy. But what Greg is saying is identify the taste makers in that niche, right? Now, we can identify the taste makers, and we can say, hey, this person sells a weight loss supplement, and he has a massive following, right? Now, we could try to get him on Facebook. Good luck. We could try to get him on Twitter. Good luck, right? We could try to write into his support desk and try to beg him to give us some time of the day that way. Good luck, right? We could target him using Greg's Link Ninja techniques, right, Greg?
Exactly.
And now we're going after him on LinkedIn. I would think you're going to have an infinite easier time targeting somebody on that level on LinkedIn than you would on any other social media site. And you can basically adapt. It's not going to be right out of the box, just like a lot of this training is in this case. But you could adapt those techniques a little bit, what Greg teaches in Link Ninja, and become this joint venture wizard through Link Ninja. Because if you're using the LinkedIn groups, like Greg is going to teach you, and you combine that with a ninja matchmaker technique that Greg teaches you, it's over. It's over because it'll be much easier for you to connect with these people, get them interested in talking to you, and introducing you to their network, which is then you can then use that to sell your product. Instead of being direct, you're a little bit indirect, but it's worth it at the end. Just like the whole ninja matchmaker technique is indirect. Do you know somebody you could recommend who is the top whatever in my area? Oh, well, yeah, it's this guy, Or they say, no, I don't know who. Well, if I find somebody, would you be interested in me sharing that with you? And they'd be like, oh, absolutely. Either way, it's just excuses for you to continue to interact with these people and provide service. And they're always going to say, who the heck is this person? Because nobody approaches me like that. Let me take a look at their LinkedIn profile. And when they do that and they see how awesome your profile is compared to 99.9% of other people's, they're going to be like, I got to know this person. I got to do business with this person. If this person helps me make more money on LinkedIn, I got to know how they're going to do that. If this person helps me do this service, I got to know how they're going to do that. And like Greg said earlier, Greg, what did you say? What should their profile never, ever, ever be?
Oh, if your profile has the same information in it as your resume, you're really shooting yourself in your foot.
Yeah, would it be fair to say, Greg, that percentage-wise, how many people's LinkedIn profile basically looks like their resume?
I would say 99% of people that are making that mistake, and it's really torpedoing them on LinkedIn.
That's what I was going to say. I didn't know if I was being overly estimated on the 99%, but that's what I was going to say. About 99% of people, their LinkedIn profile looks like their resume, and that's exactly what you shouldn't do. So you stand out just by virtue of looking different. Now, what if you made it your LinkedIn profile in a way that had calls to action, where people were inbound, as Greg calls it, when people were approaching you based on your profile that you created, so you're passive, but they're actively approaching you based on the calls of action in your profile, which are going to lead to them wanting to pay you money in one form or another based on the different types of calls to action that Greg teaches. Now you're starting to see all these pieces fall together, right? Now you're starting to see oh, this is the unbridled opportunity that LinkedIn provides to me. that say some of these other media networks that I've tried to use in the past didn't necessarily provide to me. And I got so excited when I first learned this stuff from Greg because I saw the opportunity immediately. This is something, for one reason or another, nobody's understanding, nobody's using, nobody's talking about. And that's why it works so well, because nobody else is really doing this stuff outside of Greg and pretty much the Link Ninja members, because it's so untapped. And you might have saw in the email I sent out the other day, I said, hey, unlike Facebook and unlike Groupon, LinkedIn is the only one that, since this went public, has actually made a profit. Isn't that insane? And you've got to wonder, why is that so? Why is it so that LinkedIn is making a profit while sites like Facebook and sites like Groupon are losing money? And the answer to that is there might not be as much overall activity as there could be on a Facebook, right? But LinkedIn is where the professionals go. And that's where the money goes. And if you go where the money goes, you might get some of that to float your way. And all the smart people, which there are very few of them, they're putting their money on LinkedIn. And everybody else is going the other way. And so you could follow the crowd, or you could be the contrarian like I am. If you haven't noticed, I've been a contrarian my whole life, and look where it's gotten me. That's what we do with LinkedIn. And that's why Link Ninja is so powerful. It's new in a sense that most people aren't aware of it and its power. Greg just taught you the tip of the iceberg today. It's all we could teach you today. Otherwise, everything would have flown over your head. But once you get into the members area and you see it in action, you're going to be absolutely happy that you signed up before that page expired. So I have nothing but the highest praise for Greg and what he does.
Yeah, one of those, there was a question that kind of ties in with what you were just saying about, how is this LinkedIn training different from other LinkedIn trainings that are out there? So there are other LinkedIn trainings that are out there. But the thing you're going to see with most other LinkedIn trainings is what they tell you is this stuff will work for you if you're trying to get new clients. This stuff will work for you if you're trying to get a job. This stuff will work for you if you're trying to sell stuff. And they're very generic LinkedIn trainings. The reason our program has such success is we've specifically focused in on the strategies and fine-tuned the strategies for local marketers or people that are dealing with business services. So by focusing more and having more specialized and having people out there doing things, we've found exactly what works, and that's what we're sharing with you for that specific niche. By being much more specialized in our training program, that's what makes this program unique to so many of the other LinkedIn trainings that are out there. The other thing I'll say, just to kind of elaborate on what Jason was saying, LinkedIn is here for the long run. You should really look at your LinkedIn network as a lifetime asset and invest in building it now. I mean, why wait in getting training on LinkedIn or building up your LinkedIn network? It's kind of like the people that wait to remodel their kitchen before they sell their house. And where if you had just remodeled your kitchen 2 years ago, you could have enjoyed it for 2 years before you sell your house. So your network on LinkedIn is going to be with you for the long term. LinkedIn's IPO was wildly successful. Not only do they have multiple revenue streams besides just advertising, but they have patents behind their technology. That's the big difference between them and Facebook. No one else will be able to give you 3 levels of depth into your network the way LinkedIn does, because LinkedIn owns the patents on that. In fact, when Facebook decided that they were going to show you friends of friends, like you can on Facebook, Facebook goes 1 level deep, not 3 levels like LinkedIn. But when you go to that second level on Facebook, seeing friends of friends, that was actually an infringement on LinkedIn's patent, and Facebook had to give Reid Hoffman, the owner of LinkedIn, 3% ownership in Facebook. And Reid's 3% of Facebook is actually worth more than all of his LinkedIn shares. So people tend to think of Facebook and LinkedIn as competitors, and will Facebook come up with something that's going to put LinkedIn out of business one day? It's really more of an incestuous or brother and sister type relationship, because Reid owns a big percentage of both of those, and LinkedIn is the one that owns the patents. So that's why LinkedIn's going to be here for the long run, the place where you're going to do business now and in the future. Those of you that get in and establish a presence and establish yourself as a local LinkedIn expert now, you're way ahead of the curve with big things coming for you.
Yes, yes, yes. And a lot of people don't realize that, Greg, that Facebook is more dependent on LinkedIn than vice versa.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And LinkedIn has revenue from advertising like Facebook does, but it also has advanced features which provide it with a third of its revenue, and then it has advanced recruiting solutions as well. So LinkedIn is tapped into more revenue sources than just the advertising the way Facebook is, and that's why Facebook stock is not doing as well. Forbes, LinkedIn CEO was on the cover of Forbes last month for exactly those reasons, because of the diversity in the revenue streams of the success of their IPO. So LinkedIn, you're getting in at a time when more and more of the mainstream businesses are realizing they need to have a strategy on LinkedIn, and nobody knows what to do. You'll be the guy who knows what to do. You'll have the skills to help them, and people will pay you very handsomely to help them because it's going to pay off dividends for them.
Hey, Greg, let me ask you this question, okay? Now, you were a headhunter in a previous life, is that right?
Correct.
And if people don't know what a headhunter is, I'll give you the brief thing, and you can correct me if I don't explain this correctly, Greg, but you help other people get jobs if you're a headhunter, and then you take a nice cut of their first-year salary. Is that correct?
Correct. We typically get 20% of a first-year salary in the recruiting business.
Right. So a client comes to Greg, and he says, hey, Greg, can you place me in a job? And Greg says, I can. Greg goes out, places this guy in a six-figure job, $100,000 a year, which I'm sure you've done before, right, Greg?
Oh, absolutely.
And so, Greg, you take home how much money from that, $20,000 bucks?
$20,000 for one placement.
For one deal. So Greg does this, and Greg does the headhunting, and he does it on LinkedIn. That's where you develop most of these strategies. Originally was from the headhunting and for the job placements. Now, other people, Greg, since I know you're not as active in the headhunting anymore, other people could take these strategies that we teach in Ninja and do that and headhunt, right?
Absolutely. That's another business that you could get into that's very lucrative. The recruiting business, there's huge dollars on that, and LinkedIn is a big place where a lot of recruiting is taking place. And it's just such a powerful tool to be able to tap into warm market and then work with job hunters. So that would be another option as to how you could take these LinkedIn skills here. And it's another part of what makes my training unique is I'm not naturally a marketer like a lot of people are out there. I'm not somebody who, in the last 3 or 4 years jumped into LinkedIn because social media is a huge buzz and they think LinkedIn's part of social media. As you can see from the screenshot I have up there now, I grew up on LinkedIn since 2005 as a headhunter, as a recruiter, but on the B2B sales side. So I was the guy that used LinkedIn to go out and get clients, which means get companies to pay us to find the people. I wasn't the recruiter finding the people. I was the sales guy finding the companies. And that's where all these strategies come from, and that's why these strategies are so unique and things you're not going to see. Marketing people teach you typically to go out and, put out great content and brand yourself and things will come for you. I'm a headhunter in nature, or a salesperson who with a hunter mentality that's about let's go out and do things to make things happen and control our own destiny and not just, go out there and talk and hope we attract things. That's never worked for me, that type of marketing. It's much more of a sales mentality here with this training than a marketing mentality because that's my hunter background, my recruiting background.
Yeah, Greg's basically a master networker, and that's what LinkedIn is so powerful. It's a professional networking service, and so he doesn't approach it like a marketer would. He approaches it like a networker would, which is why his stuff is so unique, so fresh, and so effective when we give it in the hands of marketers like you on this call. I'm going to wrap this up here really quickly, Greg. There's just a couple really quick points that I want to make related to this stuff. On LinkedIn. First of all, I love the fact earlier when people were saying, well, how would I be able to connect with a super connector? Because don't you have to have their email if you want to be a first-level connection with them?
Yeah, so in order to connect on LinkedIn, you do have to have people's email addresses. That's how LinkedIn is built to work and has always worked. LinkedIn recently has allowed you kind of a grace period, so if you're new on LinkedIn, they allow you to connect with people. You can just check off friends or coworkers or however you might know the person, and you don't have to have their email addresses. But as you start to connect more and build your network out, you're going to be required to have people's email addresses. in order to connect with them. Now, the first lesson from that is you better put your email address in your LinkedIn profile. Because
Yeah, that was my whole point.
Profile that want to connect with you. And you've got to make your email address prominently displayed. We also get into how do you get around that? How can you connect with somebody and communicate with somebody without having their email addresses? Because there are ways around that on LinkedIn without having to get the paid account, which is really what they're trying to force you to do by having that restriction.
Yeah, you actually answered preemptively a whole bunch of my things that I was going to bring up there, Greg. The first thing is, like, it's so obvious in retrospect, but almost nobody does it. Put your damn email address on your profile. Otherwise, how are people going to connect with you? And you want everybody and their brother, unlike Facebook or Twitter. In this particular instance, we want everybody with a pulse to be connected with us on LinkedIn. And why? Because that's how their search engine works. If you're not connected with it, it's people, when they do searches, you're not found. All right? So we want everybody and their brother to connect us, so we better be blasting that email. Most people have been taught your email's sacred. You don't want to share your email with people. People can hit it up or whatever. In this particular instance, we want to proudly display it on the LinkedIn profile, but it's obvious in retrospect a lot of people miss that. I'm actually bringing that upgrade to create a larger point in the brain of anybody listening is this. Do you think Greg has like 1,000 of those little nice tactics about profile optimization? And the answer is you know that he does. He's got all kinds of stuff. He's got stuff that makes that look like child's play. They just stacks on top of each other and stacks and it stacks and it stacks and it stacks. I mean, I knew Jonathan Green, one of your case studies, way back in the day, Greg, and I've seen where he's went from when he first started with these techniques, and it's just mind-blowing if they are applied properly. And that kind of touches on the second point I was going to bring up. Do I have to have a paid account? And the answer is we don't necessarily recommend it. Now, once you're making a whole bunch of money, you might want a paid account. I know Greg has one. But frankly, I've seen a lot of the Link Ninja student success stories come from a 100% completely free account. It's not paying money to LinkedIn that makes you more effective on LinkedIn. It's the techniques. And with the right techniques, you don't need to pay any money. Right, Greg?
Absolutely. You do not need the LinkedIn paid account for anything that we teach in the LinkedIn course.
Awesome. And then the final thing that I'm going to bring about, what about paid advertising on LinkedIn? Do you go into any of that, or is that a course part of how you're generating all these leads, Greg, and all the success on LinkedIn? Is it a matter of you just doing paid advertising, or what?
No, we don't get a lot of traffic from paid advertising on LinkedIn. That is something we'll talk about often in our coaching calls if certain niches people are interested in doing paid advertising. It starts at $2 per click on LinkedIn. We're really looking to get more corporate clients in their paid advertising than at the entrepreneurs. And so it's harder to get an ROI when you're paying that much for clicks. But it is something that we've used and tested and can talk about in the coaching calls if that interests people.
Yeah, I don't think it should interest anybody because, frankly, while you never turn down any chance to make money, so even if I have to pay advertising, if I can make more money than what I'm paying, that's always great, and I'll always do that, you know. But in LinkedIn's specific case, we don't want the $2 clicks. We want the free stuff, and I know that's what Greg predominantly relies on in generating 99% of his business on LinkedIn. Now, the real reason I bring that point up is this. How many people do you think are trying to pay money on LinkedIn at $2 a click to get more exposure, who would much more happily pay somebody like you, once you know these Link Ninja strategies, to get them far better results by paying you to do stuff for free than paying advertising fees in LinkedIn? Something to ponder, right? Just an interesting little thought for everybody that's listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, that just to drive home the point of will people approach you after seeing your profile based on Greg's recommendations? Will people approach you and say, hey, can you do that for me? And the answer is they will. And that's just one of the other reasons, of the many reasons why people do that. And it's just one of the many income streams that we teach in Link Ninja. So with that said, Greg, you know what? I'm so damn passionate about this. I could go on forever, but I know what we're going to attempt to do today is to get this replay out by the end of today, meaning I'm going to be emailing for it in a couple hours if we can render it. So I don't want to make this too long because it will take us longer to get the rendering and the replay out. So we're going to wrap it up. Hey, Greg, can you give us like a 60-second parting words, final piece of advice for everybody listening right now before we wrap this bad boy up?
Absolutely, Jason. So you should be excited about what you've heard today in this training. LinkedIn needs to be a part of your plans for the future, whether you're going to go do this on your own or do it faster and better by having us show you what's proven to work. Make LinkedIn a part of your strategy for the future. Because if you're doing business with other businesses, LinkedIn is the place where that business is going to be taking place in the future. It's the place right now in the present where that business is taking place. So make LinkedIn a part of your strategy.